And at the signal, we're going to raise those green fingers. We're very close, very close. Scrunch in a little more, it'll warm you up. We almost have everybody in there. Okay, are we ready with the green fingers? How many skies are there? One sky, indeed. Very good. Yes, if you want to do a peace sign, that's perfectly all right.
It is a peace sign.
Maurice Hinchey, our congressman here in town of Ithaca, really would have liked to have been here himself, but he's very busy over in the Hudson Valley today. But Dan Lamb, who is his representative for this region, is going to come up and make a statement on his behalf.
This doesn't happen overnight, but I can tell you that more is happening right now than has ever happened in the history of this country in terms of talking about and actually writing legislation and having hearings on legislation before the Congress. So it's an extremely important time to be tuned in and to be patient. I hate to say that word because all of us are impatient. When you're getting in and trying to do the advocacy work, you have to be patient because this process isn't going to turn on a dime. We have a couple very good bills in Congress right now. The Congress, I know Pat Pryor spoke earlier, she might have mentioned some of this, but the Congress is working on an energy bill right now. It's passed the House, it's passed the Senate. These bills are very different, and the differences have to be settled in what we call a conference committee. And in this conference committee, we're going to determine things like how much money to invest in alternative energy, things like geothermal energy or marine energy, you know, getting energy out of the tidal system, getting energy out of solar energy, of course, but there's a lot of money in this House bill for research and development, an unprecedented amount of money. The Senate bill is not so generous on the research and development, but it's very good on other things like raising the corporate auto fuel economy standard to 35 miles per gallon by the year 2020. Now, we would have liked an even higher standard. In fact, Congressman Hinchey has his own energy reform bill that has a goal of 40 miles per gallon by 2020. But we have to work with what we have, and that is these two different bodies in the House and the Senate and different constituencies throughout the country trying to get what they want in this bill. It's a cumbersome process, but in this fall we are going to get some sort of energy bill passed, and then we'll probably send it to the President, who will veto it. I think that's probably a given, and that's just the sad truth. But getting back to the patience component of all this, this president will probably veto what we do because it spends too much or raises taxes on energy-producing industries. We take away some of the subsidies that go to the coal and gas industries, and we spend a lot of money on research, but that's necessary. The fact of the matter is we're going to have a new president, and I think any other president than one that's from the oil industry himself and a vice president from the oil industry is going to take an energy bill more seriously. So that's what we're working for. We'll have a long haul. We'll probably have to pass another energy bill in the next Congress. At the same time, there is a climate change bill going through Congress. And this is exciting too, which the bill, just this past week, as a matter of fact, went through the Senate committee, the subcommittee on energy and the environment, Public Works. And just this week, this bill passed. You'll hear it referred to as the Lieberman-Warner bill. And this bill actually has some pretty exciting news in it. Not everything we want, but reductions in carbon emissions. We're one of the few industrialized nations in the world that don't have restrictions on carbon emissions. The Lieberman-Warner bill sets goals that they're decent. I mean, I wouldn't say they're great, but they're decent. A 4% reduction by 2020 in CO2 emissions and a 57% reduction by 2050. Under 1990 levels. These are the terms you'll hear a lot when we're talking about carbon emissions and the type of legislation that we need to pass. So this is a step in the right direction. The House has to come up with their own bill, and we're way behind on that. But we've got something on the table now from the Senate. Now the full Senate has to take it up and pass it, and the House has to come up with something. And then the President has to veto it, and we have to bring it back again and again until we have a president that can sign this sort of thing. And it's very difficult to stand up here and say we're going to pass something and get it signed into law, because I just don't think we are. So we have to be patient. We have to celebrate every little victory we have. We have a lot of town governments and our own city government doing good things on the environment. I read a poll this week that showed 75% of Americans would support higher taxes at the town level if they knew that their town was engaged in global warming activities.
Campaign for Congressman Mike Arcuri. He did win. He is now our congressman, and she's going to read a message from him right now. Thank you.
Friends, unfortunately, previous engagements prevent me from joining you in person today. I want to thank each of you for your work organizing citizens to speak out on important issues facing our nation. Citizens groups are crucial to maintaining our democracy. I would especially like to thank all the members of Step It Up for their dedication to protecting the environment. By gathering here today, you are showing your commitment to making our community, our state, our country, and our planet a safer, stronger, and cleaner place to live. We only have one Earth, and our children's future depends on how well we preserve and protect it. My position on global warming is clear. It's real, it's happening, and we need to do something about it. For far too long, global warming and investments in alternative energy have only been viewed as long-term issues. That type of thinking neglects the tangible short-term benefits to investing now in alternative energy and cutting greenhouse gas emissions. The potential economic impact right here in upstate New York from investment in alternative energy is very real. I'm proud to talk to you today about the concrete steps that this Congress has taken to invest in an alternative energy future that will grow our economy, enhance our national security, and leave our air and water clean for generations to come. As your federally elected representative in Congress, I am accountable not only for my words, but my actions too. Since taking office, I have maintained my commitment to addressing global warming and truly investing in alternative energy sources. Earlier this year, I gathered business leaders, scientific experts, and citizens together to begin a process to make upstate New York a major alternative energy center. In February, I held an alternative energy roundtable in Lansing with area experts and community members to collect local ideas on alternative and renewable energy programs that would benefit upstate New York both economically and environmentally. In Washington, I have voted for and supported legislation specifically designed to increase the research, production, and implementation of alternative energy sources. Within the first 100 hours of my first term in Congress, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the Clean Energy Act of 2007, which would repeal $14 billion in subsidies given to big oil and gas companies and invest those funds in clean, renewable energy research and development. The U.S. House of Representatives has also passed the Advanced Fuels Infrastructure Research and Development Act to make alternative fuels like cellulosic ethanol more affordable and accessible. I have also co-sponsored the Safe Climate Act, which would freeze greenhouse gas emissions in 2010 and gradually reduce emissions to 80% below 1990 levels by 2050. Scientists tell us that these targets will keep global temperatures below the danger point.